Sleep well. Well, that was random. Kenji's sudden arrival makes me jump and I narrowly avoid butting heads with him. I know he has poor eyesight, but he knows who I am now. Does he still have to stand this close? Oh yeah, like a baby. Damn, why do people say that? Have you ever heard a baby sleep? They scream all night, every night. Babies don't sleep well ever. He's got a point. I mean, it's kind of true. Well, there goes my restful state. I have to remember to never use figures of speech with Kenji. Alright, I get your point. It was a figure of speech. Yeah, sure, whatever. Where were you last night? I had a favor to ask, but you went around. For a split second, I considered telling Kenji the truth that I was spending time with Hanako and Lily. Thankfully, that split second passed as soon as it came. I was just out, checking out the local area and stuff. You know, recon. Good man, good. I knew you were the type to plan ahead. Anyway, what was this favor you wanted? I was gonna get some takeout, but I need a change. Wait, what? I gave you money last week and you still haven't paid me back. And I was starting to think you were cool. Kenji fishes around his bucket and produces his wallet. As he counts out the 400 yen he owes me, I can clearly see the bird ready for flight. And I can also clearly see at least 2 1,000 yen notes or whatever. Hey, what the hell? Why are you borrowing money off me when you've got that much cash? Kenji hisses a little, realizing he's been had. Get off my case, man. It's bad luck to break a big note for anything less than half its value. It's a tycoon's rule. Last night's dinner is gonna cost me 7 years of bad luck. 7 years! Don't you think that's enough cost to help someone out? I get a shorter sentence if I just stole stuff. My common sense screams at me to say something to him, but frankly I restrain myself. Arguing a point like this with Kenji will just lead to further and more complicated discussions. Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe you should plan these things a little better. Yeah, man, I know, but I've just got so much stuff to do. It's on, and you're never around anymore, so I'm on my own. We're supposed to be brothers in brotherhood, remember? Yeah, I get you. Global conspiracy and such, so I'll keep my ear to the ground. Kenji draws close enough for me to get a clear whiff of his garlic-tainted breath. You'd better, man. You're already spending less time here. That's the first thing they do. They'll try to split us up, divide and conquer. Sun Tzu and all that. Roger that. Now that I've got to be going, I've got classes. You coming? Nah, I'm tired. I stayed up all night just to make sure nothing was gonna happen after splitting that note. As rational as ever, I see. Whatever. Night. Kenji scurried back into his room and I hear him throwing his locks as I walk down the hallway. Now, I honestly wonder what Kenji's room looks like. We didn't, in Kenji's ending, we didn't see his room at all. I mean, what must his room look like? Will we ever see what's inside his room? That's like one of the biggest mysteries of this entire novel. That is why some people can't roll their tongue, or why their second toe is longer than their big toe. Mito beams a half-moon smile at us, obviously proud of his explanation of recessive genes. Too bad we didn't hear it in a detailed form and rather just the conclusion. However, no matter how impressed he is at the science that defines who we are, the classroom seems to be reduced to a stupor. Why is it that a bad explanation can make even the most interesting things seem worthless? I can see Mito deflate as he realizes that nothing he's said in the past half hour is sunk in. Whispered conversations start to break the silence, and like an avalanche, the noise level in the class starts to rise. Defeated, Mito identifies some questions from the textbook and sets to clearing off the blackboard. Almost as if expected, Hanako packs up her things and leaves as soon as people start talking and laughing among themselves. The initial shock of seeing someone play so blatantly truant has started to fade, but it doesn't stop me from wondering. Is she leaving because she doesn't want people to speak to her, or is it just the thought of people around her shattering her peace? Before I can think about the topic any further, the lunch bell rings. But bells ring. I wonder if she was simply taking the opportunity to leave early. The usual clamor of students exchanging books for lunch reverberates around the room, and while Michu is distracted, I grab my lunch and head out the door. Lily already sits in the tea room, setting out her lunch alone. So, Hanako's not here then. Oh, Isao, how are you? I haven't met Hanako since this morning, I'm afraid. That's right, Hanako and Lily live next to each other. Somehow I think their morning conversations are slightly more grounded than Ken's ramblings. That's strange, she left class early, so I figured that she'd come here.
So she's still leaving class early?
Yeah, I've seen her do it a few times. Lily drops her head a little and her tone of voice is notably depressed. It's very reminiscent of someone who is used to hearing bad news.
I was so sure that she'd stop doing that once you two became friends. Everyone has their own pace, I suppose.
Well, I was wondering about just that today. Why exactly does she leave?
I'm not entirely sure myself. I personally think it's because she doesn't want to be put in a situation where she has to answer someone.
I have a flashback of my first meeting with her when I thought she looked like a cornered animal. Maybe I wasn't far from the truth. But she seems fine with talking to you and with me a bit.
It's a little more complex than that. I imagine that the first thing most people ask her about is her scars and what happened. She rarely talks about it with me, but I can tell that she doesn't like to remember whatever happened back then. Leaving class and running away from discussions is her preemptive strike, if you will.
So then how does that explain her talking to me?
You said it yourself yesterday at breakfast. You tried to ignore her scars. When she saw that you weren't going to ask her about that, she opened herself up to you.
So, it was a really wise decision then for us to, not ask about that. I guess you're right. Maybe. I don't know. You know her better than I, and so I'll take your word for it.
I wouldn't worry about that. I'm sure you'll come to know her as well as I do soon enough. I welcome this prospect of her having a new friend, and the two of you have such similar interests.
Well, I hardly count reading as a team sport. It is good to have company, though.
That's my point. Hanako is still an average person at heart. She also wants company at times like that.
I see. I think. To be honest, both of you still confuse me a little.
That's only natural, Asao. We've only known each other for a little while. It's unreasonable to expect you to understand us, just as we can't understand you. But that is half the fun of becoming friends, right?
Yes it is.
Although, I suppose there is the matter of us being opposite genders, men and women do seem to confuse each other quite often.
She says this with a light giggle, finding amusement at the odd little details of life.
I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to start eating.
Oh, go ahead. I think I'll eat something too. I've got some books I want to drop back at the library before class starts, so I'd better get a move on.
You'll probably find Hanako there as well. If you do see her, can you tell her to stop by my room later tonight? I'd like to talk to her.
You're not coming?
Unfortunately, I have class representatives meeting later, so I'll be gone as soon as I finish my lunch.
Okay then, if I don't see her in the library, then I'll tell her in class. I'm sure she'll be back after lunch. We fall silent as we start to eat, and I take a second to reflect on our conversation. I've always thought that Hanako's shyness was simply due to her being self-conscious of her scars, but that is a pretty superficial way of looking at her. So when I thought I was about to see through the fog of Lily and Hanako, I realized that I'm more lost than when I started. Lily quickly finishes her lunch, acutely aware of her meeting. I don't blame her. Shizune is most likely going to be there, and I doubt she wants to give her the satisfaction of another argument.
I must be off. Same time tomorrow.
Same time, same channel. Yeah, same time, same channel. Well, maybe not the same time, because my upload schedule kind of like, it's not like on like point, it's like, oh, at this time every day. No, it's like around about these hours or so, unless like my internet is really crap or I oversleep or something, then it ends up being uploaded a bit later than usual and whatever. But that's got nothing to do with that. I'd better head off too. I don't want to risk being late. Lily smiles gently, picks up her cane, and walks out into the hall. I turn my back on Lily as we head in opposite directions. For some reason, I find myself hoping she doesn't get into an all fight with Shizune. As much as I like Lily, Shizune and Misha have been pretty instrumental in helping me adjust. Wait, as much as I like Lily, Shizune and Misha have been... Oh, I see. That's what the comment is. As much as I like Lily, Shizune and Misha have been pretty instrumental in helping me adjust, even if half of our conversations are thinly veiled recruitment attempts. Then again, I barely know either of them. Maybe they were previously leaders of some kind of secret society, but their love for each other drove them apart. Man, I need to stop reading cheap fiction. It's rotting my brain. Either that or I've got to move away from Kenji and his bad influence. It's sad that I can't tell the two apart anymore. I slide my books down, return chute, and they crash into the cart with a pleasant thud. Yuko, however, doesn't seem as impressed as I.
Sao, you scared me!
Sorry, I thought you would be used to that by now. Is the literacy level here so low that nobody borrows any books?
No, I think everyone here can read fine.
Yeah, never mind. There are some battles that you can never win. Trying to explain jokes is one of them. My dad taught me that the hard way. You know, anytime he casually mentions his parents, it's just like brings it back to we never know much about his parents. They had that one scene at the start, and that's it. I mean, more backstory? Yes, no? Say, Yuko, have you seen Hanako about? She left class early, but she wasn't in her usual hiding place.
I think I saw her sneak in before lunch. Oh, but I'm not supposed to tell anyone that.
I just told you that I saw her leave. No need to stress out.
Oh, of course, she's probably in the back.
Thanks. Got any new books in recently?
No, sorry, I'll let you know when we do, though.
Okay. If there's one thing I know about librarians, part-time or otherwise, is that they appreciate people that take a genuine interest in their work. I walked a now familiar path to Hanako's reading nook, picking out a few titles along the way. Sometimes I find it hard to discover a book that will interest me among the shelves. An author's name and a two-word title don't mean much in a sea of similar words. For that reason, I sometimes reread books that I read in the past. Better to bet on the favorites than a new runner. An unfamiliar title from a familiar author picks out among the spines of its neighbors, so I remove it from the shelf. At least I'm not going over old material. As expected, Hanako sits on her beanbag, buried deep in a copy of Dance Dance Dance. What? Hi, Hanako, how's it going? I fight back the urge to ask why she left class here. Really, if Lily's suspicions were right, then asking her about that could have the opposite effect. Best to leave it for the time being. Sometimes the best way to get an answer from someone is to never ask the question.
Hello, Sal. I'm fine.
Something seems off, and after a couple of seconds I realize what it is. Hanako's smiling. That's off! She looks as if she's pleased to see me. It's a nice change from the usual, instinctively frightened reaction, and something I hope I can see more of as we get to know each other better. Good to hear. How's the book? I heard it's a trip.
It's good.
That text, there was more there.
I think. I've only just started it, so I don't really know.
Fair enough. Let me know how it goes. I may borrow it once you're done. A book with a title like Dance, Dance, Dance. That's... what a title.
Sure.
There's a good 15 minutes left in lunch, not enough to really get into a book, but too much to stand around doing nothing. But Hanako's already returned to her reading, so I doubt I'll get much conversation from her. Oh well, I'd better make myself comfortable. I slouch into a beanbag and crack open my book. With really style, the author leaps out at me from the very first line. As the sentences turn into paragraphs, I start to relax a little. But no matter how I try, I can't seem to get myself into the atmosphere of the book. This is partly due to the lack of time, but the more distracting factor is Hanako. Every 10 or so seconds she peers over the top of her book, but when her eyes meet, she quickly ducks behind the covers. I guess she did want to talk about something after all. What's up? You look like a prairie dog on lookout.
It's nothing.
I've told you before, nothing means something when you say it like that. Hanako squirms a little in her beanbag, hoping that by changing her position she'll find the word she's looking for.
I was in an accident.
Accident? Just now, or are you alright? Hanako shakes her head, her hair flowing around her shoulders in wisps of emphasis on the background of pale and dark flesh.
No, when I was younger.
The realization crashed into me like a semi.
When I was...
It's alright, Hanako, you don't have to tell me anything if you don't want to. Again she shakes her head.
No, I have to tell you. When I was young, I was in a fire. My house burned down and I nearly didn't make it. After that, I was alone.
Hanako's eyes glisten to the dim light of the library, and I reach out to grasp her hand. It's okay, Hanako. You don't have to keep going.
But I have to.
Why? What brought this on?
Last night Lily told me about your heart. And I didn't think it was fair.
Fair?
That I knew about you, but you didn't know about me.
I squeeze Hanako's hand a little. Don't be silly, but yes, I have a heart condition. Lean a little closer to Hanako. What I didn't tell Lily is that I had my first attack when a girl confessed to me. I smile a little to break the tension. I smile.
Really?
Really, I haven't heard from her for a while though, so I guess it's all over. No, it's all over. There's no other way to interpret what happened the last time I saw her. In some ways, not having heard from her again has helped me move on from that period of my life. Painful history. Okay, that totally makes sense in this case, wouldn't it? Wait. That also makes sense as well, doesn't it? Equivalent exchange. So now we both know a little more about each other, but you don't have to talk about things if you don't want to. In fact, I feel a little bad even thinking about that whole instance. I can almost smell the hospital's disinfectant burning in the back of my sinuses again. Imagine Hanako is going through the same thing now. When I was in the hospital, I went to the burn ward once, and only once. I was bored, so I went for a walk through all of the wards. Went through oncology or whatever, and thought I could take it, but when I got to the burn ward, I turned around and went back to my bed. You think that Hanako would have spent months in a place like that, smelling nothing but corrupted skin, strong disinfectant, and sterilized air. The really bad cases were kept in isolated pods that no foreign objects could enter. That would have meant no reading. I would have gone insane if I didn't have my books in the hospital. And she said she was alone. Did her parents die? I'll have to ask Lloyd about it. I can imagine myself saying something dumb unintentionally.
Thank you, Asao. I haven't told many people about this.
To be honest, I haven't told many people about my circumstances either.
Then I won't tell anyone either.
Deal. I change my grip on Hanako's hand into a handshake as the warning bells chime through the window. Well then, we'd better head back to class then, eh?
Sure.
Act 2? Wait, Act 3, technically, wouldn't it? Castling! Isn't that face adorable? The tint of the room slowly changes from the shine of the afternoon to the orange of dusk. A clock lazily ticks away the seconds, counting in the background on the verge of hearing. But no matter how long I wait, the outcome cannot be changed. The meditative playing piece makes a small click against the board. Like a wound spring, Hanako makes her move only moments after mine. It's embarrassing in comparison to my 5 minutes moves. She seems to know exactly what she wants to do. Mate. Again? What does that make this? 3-2?
Stalemates don't count.
Damn, you're getting better at this every day. That or she's been holding back. I never thought it when I first met her, but she really has a knack for this game. Yeah, that's what I meant when I said earlier on in this route where she's actually really good at chess. I guess she must have been learning from that book. Chess seems to have become a popular pastime for the two of us, hiding away in the tea room, playing a game or two after classes. From here, the students outside can just barely be heard milling around. Well, about. The everyday noises from below remind me a little of my life before Yumako, though I'm by now well aware that if it's a life I'll never get back to. Fancy another game?
I have to finish my homework.
Oh well, I'll see you tomorrow then.
But what about this?
Hanako points to the tea set surrounding a mostly empty chessboard. Don't worry about that, I've got it.
Okay. See you.
Later. Hanako departs as I start cleaning up the area. The occasional whistles and cheers from the sporting clubs outside become less frequent, eventually approaching silence. Part of me still wants to be in some kind of team, since I played soccer and other sports before my accident. I guess it's only normal to feel nostalgic about what I can't do anymore. But I have other reasons than that for my coming here so often. But I don't feel so bad about losing that part of myself because of them. Lily is a good friend by now, but it's the small exchanges I have with Hanako that feel especially dear. The small victories I feel every day as I see more of what she is like under her self-imposed shell. That's why I come here most of all. As I'm putting away cups and saucers, I hear talking outside the door. Pausing for a moment to listen, I can make out that it's Hanako and Lily, and decide to go outside to investigate.
Are you quite sure? I'm sure. It's Al.
Hanako turns to see me with a look of mild surprise as she notices my approach. Lily must have caught her just as she was about to leave.
Oh my, Sao is here as well.
Afternoon, Lily. What's up?
I was hoping, now that I've finished with my class representative duties for the day, that I might have the two of you accompany me for tea at the Shanghai. It'd be nice to enjoy ourselves outside the school for a change.
I'd be up for it. I think Hanako had work to do, though.
It's not all that much. Wonderful. It seems that we've decided then.
I cast my eyes across the cafe as the three of us step in. As usual, there are only a handful of people around at most, and noise level is a quiet background hum. The hold Lily has on Hanako's arm remains just as it has been to the entire slow walk down the whole hill to the local town, though it's hard to say for which reason, for Lily's guidance or for Hanako's reassurance. For a moment, Lily removes her arm from Hanako's to retract her cane as Yuko quickly skitters over to where we stand, but soon replaces it right back where it had been.
Welcome to the Shanghai. May I take your order?
She gives a deep bow, but her well-delivered and professional introduction put her in a good mood. It's a nice change from the norm for Yuko.
Just tea, please. Hanako is out.
I'll have a slice of pie and a coffee.
Just tea, please. Coming right up. Please take any seat you wish, and I'll be back shortly.
Yuka gives a smile and a nod before shuffling to the counter, and we make our way to some empty seats by the window in quick measure. We slip into our seats, the girls on one side with Lily's cane propped up beside them and I on the other, and realize that Hanako's not doing something that she so often does. Rather than keeping her eyes pinned to the ground and hiding behind her blind escorts, busily trying to convince herself that the world around them doesn't exist, she's merely keeping her eyes low and helping Lily around. Are you okay, Lily? You look tired. She lowers her head a little, looking somewhat embarrassed that she let it show.
Class representative's work can be very tiring, considering that it often means dealing with the student council. Very tiring indeed. How do the other representatives go? Better than I, but not by much. Sune is a harsh taskmaster, no matter whom she deals with.
Doesn't sound like you particularly relish the job. Why do you do it in the first place, if it's that bad?
Being a class representative is enjoyable, and I can deal with the responsibility well enough. It's just that the people involved are sometimes...
She trails off, cutting her words at a rather opportune spot. It's hard to imagine Lily cursing, but I imagine that if anyone could make her do so, it would be Shizune. That'd be interesting. Hanako looks to be wavering a bit in the light of such conflict, but before I can steer the topic away a little, she stands up.
Hanako? I'll be back in a bit.
With that, she leaves for the restroom. I suppose that's one way to deal with the situation, if that was indeed her motivation. Lily, however, looks a little wounded. Don't worry about it, I don't think it was you. But the way I freaking end up voice acting sometimes, I think she's been getting stronger recently. You've seen it yourself, right? That went a bit awry. Fortunately, Lily doesn't look offended, and by now I really shouldn't be quite so scared of stepping on that landmine around her.
Possibly. Sometimes I find it hard to tell, though.
Silence reigns for a moment before 2 teacups, a pie, and a mug of steaming coffee appear in front of us. I noticed that you could take special care to place the teacup against the tip of Lily's fingers, letting her know where it is.
Here you go.
Thanks, Yuko.
Thank you.
With a quick and silent bow, the bespectacled waitress takes her leave.
Ah, that's right, I was meaning to ask you something, and now would be the right time to do so.
That would be the right time for a cliffhanger, because I've been recording for a long time. Probably just a bit over an hour. But it feels like forever sometimes when recording. So maybe 2 or 3 parts out of this, I don't know. But we're on to the second phase of Hanako's route now. On to Act 3. I mean, I say second, but first act is kind of like builds up till it gets to route, so you get the idea. But anyways, I'll see you next time, viewers. See you next time.